Hello and welcome to the very first episode of One Town, One Community. I'm joined today by Diane and Heather, co-owners of Only Prettier Design. Hello.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you guys for joining me. Thank you for being my guinea pigs in my first interview here.
Love it.
I'm glad to have you here today. So let's start right away. Let's just tell me about your business.
Sure. So we are a floral and event design business. That's how we started. So we've been doing weddings and other events we're in our fifth year for wedding seasons right now. And we expanded into a brick and mortar shop back about 2 years ago now, where we have home decor and we sell fresh flowers. We also offer workshops, and we are currently expanding to a new location next to Eagle Brook, the old Heart and Hand location. We're basically expanding 6 to 7 times the size that we currently are, which is really crazy. So, and we're close. We've been quarantined. Our families have been quarantined together. So we're just one big happy family in this big expansion project that we're doing. So, and then we do have 2 other parts of our business. I'll let Heather tell you about those, the design and the truck.
Yes. So we really started our business on flowers and floral design. So that's really the heart of our business. So in our brick and mortar shop, we offer fresh flowers all the time. By order, they're online on our website. And then we also have a flower bar. So we purchased an old pickup truck a couple of years ago, and we've turned it into a flower bar, which has been really, really fun and exciting to take around to local farmers markets. And we hope to have it parked at the store whenever we all open again. So that's been really fun. And then we sort of translate that into the shop. So when you walk into the store, you'll also see a flower bar where you can buy flowers by the stem. Or we're happy to arrange them for you too. So that's been exciting. And then the other part that we're really expanding is our in-home design. We get a lot of, it's really come out of a need that people have been requesting us to come and do their homes. And so we've been able to add a new member of our team that's an actual designer, certified. And we're doing it all virtually, which is really awesome because that's the way of the world right now. So you'll be able to purchase a package and do it entire virtual. Get a mood board, a layout of your home, share pictures, ideas, and we'll order it all for you at our wholesale discount, and we'll design your home. I think it's spring. It's a great time, I think, for people to be fixing up their houses, and everybody's seeing a lot of the inside of their walls these days. So anyway, we're excited to expand that part of the business too.
Yeah, and I think once we get back to whatever the new normal is, we also can come and do the setup in the house too. And we can either have stuff that we've purchased, or we can also, sometimes it's just a fresh eye on things that you already have that we can use when we set up and decorate. So that's all of it in a nutshell for you.
We do a lot of custom jobs, a lot of cluttering. Oh my gosh, we could go on.
It goes on. And if there's something that someone wants to do, we've never done it before, we're sure, let's try it. Let's do it. We can do this.
So, great. So how did you two meet? And then what prompted you or encouraged you to start this business?
Yeah, it's interesting because we actually were not friends before we started this. We really started it as business partners, which I think is a little bit unusual. And then our friendship kind of grew, obviously, as the time we spent together. But we met at a photography class, and she was doing the flowers there, and I was a photo assistant. And
so we have a mutual friend. So she's one of our best friends. And
now
we're all friends. So
but it was just our mutual eye as we talked about detail and our eye for things. Our eye is exactly the same for detail and design and aesthetic. Our vibe is the same. And I just think it kind of took us both back a little bit because you just don't find that ever. I've never found another person who has my exact same design time, and she'd been doing florals on her own. So we thought, why don't we pair these together as we do weddings forward? So we really started just in weddings, and I was doing the wedding design and she was doing the florals. And so it kind of just grew from there and took off.
Yeah. And we went to there was a space that was available in another shop, and I talked to Heather about it, and she was like, no. And I was like, no. And I just wouldn't give up. And I was like, let's just try it. Let's see what happens. And that was back in 16. I don't remember when this was. It was a few years ago. And we took the jump, and then we were in 2 locations, and then we found our first location. So at one point we were actually in 3, and then we started to scale back. And we've just dreamed of expansion, and we talked about it at the beginning of this year. And we're big believers in faith, that if we just have faith and keep going for the goal, we'll go get there. So I think it's also interesting too, we're both able to tell each other when something doesn't look good, and it's not like neither one of us gets offended, and it's art. So you could take this like very personal, but it's all about making sure we put our best foot forward and protect the brand and do the best that we absolutely can. And family's huge for us. So between the 2 of us, we have 8 kids. So always first, but they're usually one of the kids is in tow with us at all times. Today, actually, we don't have any, which is cool.
It's a juggling act for sure.
But we kind of view it as one big family.
Great. Awesome. So you mentioned a couple locations that you used to have. Do you just have the one location now? And
just one.
Tell me about the history of the past locations and that kind of thing.
Sure. We were in a store in Foxborough. We were there for just a short amount of time, and then we expanded up and did a second location up in Sudbury, and we were in someone else's store. So we do a lot of antiques.
Consignment,
But
we just knew if we wanted to make it our own, we just needed to take the jump.
We wanted to do flowers. We couldn't do flowers in any of these other places. So when this building became available, I just told her, I was like, I'm just going to inquire about this building. Like, I'm just curious, like, who owns it?
Yeah.
So I asked, and they were like, actually, it's available this month. And I went and looked at it.
We've had a lot of signs happen along the way that have really guided us to know this is the right time, this is the right location. Mm-hmm. I mean, even the new store that we're moving into next to Eaglebrook on Dedham Street, again, we were just inquiring. We just went there to ask a few questions and to look around, and we found out that they were retiring at the end of the week. Like at the end of the week, like at the exact moment we went, they're like, actually, we're retiring, and this building will be available at the end of the month. Everything we could ever want for a space and a location, and we just knew it was meant. We've had a lot of those meant to be moments that we know we're on the right path and we're doing like what we're supposed to be doing.
That's great. So what are your roles? Do you split up the roles? What does each of you do kind of on a daily basis?
Well, right now, we
definitely
sling paintbrushes.
We've always joked that she's more the CFO.
Yeah.
And she loves it. I mean, I think we find our strength. Well, you're good at it. You're good at it, though. But I mean, we did like the strength finders test, and we really want to play to each other's strengths, because we found if you're not happy, you don't enjoy what you're doing, you're not going to do it well, and you're going to procrastinate, and it's going to be. We don't want this to feel like a job. Really, we want to really be loving what we're doing. So we try to delegate roles that really
make us happy.
Yeah.
And so leverage our strengths. So
exactly. So she does finances. I do more of like the buying and
for weddings.
Social.
Yes. But for weddings, the bigger parts of a wedding, it's either Heather or myself that will always own the bridal bouquet.
Yeah.
So like we're like the head designers for flowers, like we'll always do the bigger pieces, where one of us is involved in every single event that we do. And then Heather does a lot of, as she said, the buying and social media. And then we also, there's certain things that we were both doing, but we didn't love doing either, like just those certain things. So we've hired a team.
But we just don't really have time to do. I mean,
or we say like, oh, that'd be so nice to do, but there's so many other things happening.
Right. There's only 2 of us, and growing a business requires a lot of time and a lot of work, and there's a lot of moving parts. And we have a lot of kids, so we've got to just delegate, and not be afraid to let go of control of some things and ask for help.
And what's funny too is when we did the Strength Finders, your top 5, we had 3 of the 5 the same, which is interesting. But again, like when she goes and looks at, if I go and look at a cart that she's built for, something that we're buying, I'm like, cool, love it all. That's great. And then if I run a plan by her, like, okay, hey, here's what we want to do. Here's how I think we can manage this process. She's like, cool, love it. Great. So we're on the same page for a lot of things. We just definitely stay in our lane of what we do best.
Great. Awesome. So you mentioned a couple other team members you have with you. So how many other employees do you have, and what are their roles?
Sure.
We have 3 other employees. Kelly is
our most recent hire.
Yep, she's kind of marketing, and she has like the design certification. So she's helping doing all of that. She does a lot of virtual design for us. So that is kind of her role.
Yeah, and like just building, one of the things that's really important to us is building the brand and making sure that kind of our whole story is tied together. And I think she plays a very critical role in that piece.
Great.
And she doesn't even live here. She's actually not in the state.
She's our first virtual employee.
Yeah, so she lives out in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And she works for us, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And then we have 2 other girls who are local that are from Rentham that work for us.
Michelle helps with sales and also puts in hours in the store for us. And then Natalie has really been great with custom work. She does a lot of the hand lettering. She's an
amazing
artist
with floral design as well.
Yeah.
She's like jack of all trades. She does everything.
Yeah, she's been a great asset to our business for sure.
Our right hand.
Great. So what would you guys say is the overall goal of your business?
To make things pretty. Well, we love florals. We love design. When we buy, we also have like 2 different things that we really think through of local. So how do we support local makers and showcase their product, which is awesome, and bring the community together. And for local for us is not only just Massachusetts, but Michigan, because Heather's actually from Michigan.
Right.
So we take both of those places into consideration. And then the second is brands that have a purpose. So do they give back to something? And that's something that's very important to us. So I think just being a place in the community for people to come together and find unique things and gifts, but also time for themselves. We offer workshops too. So get, a bunch of your friends together and have a flower arranging workshop, which is really cool.
That's been really fun.
So I think it's just really, you can chime in, but it's...
Yeah, we give back too, so we give a portion of our events back. Diane's always had this huge passion for dogs, and so we give back to...
Lucky Mutt Animal Rescue, which is a rescue up on the North Shore. But at the same point, we've also opened it up. If a bride is passionate about a particular rescue, we'll do whatever rescue they're passionate about.
Yeah,
so.
But I think one of the best parts of this has been just seeing people give. Like, we do a lot of gifts and a lot of arrangements for friends. Like, I just love helping people brighten somebody else's day, and that's been really fun to just help people with that.
Great. Awesome. So what about the name for your business? Is there some special inspiration behind that or meaning? How'd you come up with it?
That's on you.
So I think it's like a twofold thing. So one, I enjoy country music. And when I was thinking about just, I've worked in retail my whole life. And I remember sitting in one of the manager jobs I had way back in the day. I won't say how long ago it was. I was like, why don't I do this for myself? And then my wedding was actually featured in a magazine. And during the interview, they're like, who is your wedding planner? And I was like, myself. And they kept asking. And I'm like, no, it was me. So when I thought about like, hey, how do I get to a place of like where we are today? I thought about pulling. All of a sudden I had this like epiphany. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to do a wedding. There's no overhead. And then I thought about all of these pieces coming together, and I just kept thinking about what was so important to me during the wedding process and my own planning. And I wanted to have a wedding that wasn't traditional in a sense, but I wanted people to just like walk away being wowed by the details. Details are extremely important to me. So Only Prettier came to my mind because it's a song that I love, but it's also more so really in all of the work that we do. I wanted to deliver, and Heather had that same eye. but make things like prettier than how anybody could imagine. So that was kind of the thought process. And then when I didn't want to just call it Only Prettier, so I threw in design because I always pictured an umbrella of like, here's the name and here's what we would offer, but then underneath it would encompass a lot of different things. So floral design, event design, home design. I really wanted a name that would like stand the test of time as the business could expand and grow. And I was always taught multiple revenue streams. If you want your business to survive, make sure there's multiple revenue streams so that if one starts to slow down or if it's seasonal or if it just shifts, you have other legs to stand on that are going to help you. And I wanted to make sure the name would cover all of that. So that was before Heather and I. That was like, oh my gosh, 7 years ago, 6 years ago now at this point, that I remember sitting in a restaurant with my sister-in-law and just writing words down until they made sense. And it just came to us then.
Great.
Yeah, she was a big help in that, my sister-in-law.
So I know you said you just kind of happened upon your local place in Norfolk, but is there anything special that draws you to the Norfolk community?
I live here. So I live in the town, and Heather lives in Rentham.
And I'm in Rentham, and our new shop is really right on the Norfolk-Rentham line. So It's perfect. We both, as we looked for a new location to expand, that was probably our number one priority, is that we knew we wanted to stay local. We want to stay in this community. We want to support this community and our small business. And for our families here that, are rooted here. So that was really important to us to stay.
I grew up in a small town, and I remember, and I look back at like the small town feel. And when we found Norfolk, it felt like that. And then I just remember when I was a kid, like my mom was like a real estate agent in the town, and I just wanted that same like presence in a community. So we were really adamant about making sure we stayed here when we expanded.
Great. Awesome. Do you guys have any favorite places in Norfolk or Rentham, for that matter?
It's funny, when we looked at the questions, we were like, our house is like, where we live.
Yeah, I like to go to Heather's house in the summer because she's on the lake, and then we get a random day or two at my house in the summer because I have a pool. I'm very much a homebody.
It was like, really, our backyards are our favorite places.
I love to be, my son, I have 4 kids, as we mentioned in the beginning. We had 8 between us, but my oldest is 4, going to be 5. And so I went to college for sports medicine, and I love being on a field, like whatever, just being involved in sports. It's so important to me. So he's been in soccer, outside soccer for like, or outdoor soccer, whatever, 2 years now, 2 seasons. So I love being on any like athletic field that I can be on. So I can't wait for the day to be back out there, because my oldest and then my second child will be playing soccer. So I guess I'd say the athletic fields for me.
We love the soccer fields.
Yeah. I love watching my kids play sports.
That's
great. So how much of Massachusetts do you cover? What's the furthest you'll go?
We'll go anywhere.
We've had a lot of inquiries for even the Berkshires, I think was our latest inquiry, which is about like 2.5 hours west. We've done a lot of weddings actually in New Hampshire. I don't think we've done any outside of New Hampshire, Rhode Island, of course. But we're definitely willing to travel.
Yeah, we'll go anywhere.
Yeah. But those have been some of our favorite weddings because it's beautiful up there.
Awesome. And I see on your website that you just recently, or 2 months ago, started a blog.
Yeah.
So what's your goal with that? How often do you think you'll post? Is there a way you can subscribe so you can be notified? Or
yeah, you definitely can subscribe. We're going to cover different topics. We really want to connect personally. We want people to really get to know us. And just the struggles of a mom and a business owner. I think that's super important. I think there's a lot of women entrepreneurs, even in our small community. Almost all of our friends are actually entrepreneurs also, whether they're home business or small business. So we just really want to be real. I think that's something that drew us to each other, is we're very real, blunt people. I mean, we're very candid, and we appreciate honesty. We want to really portray that, and I think a blog is a good place to do that, to just be real about the struggles of juggling all of it. Of course, we want to feature some beautiful weddings that we've done. We're really big DIY girls. So you'll see some makeovers in there of things we've renovated and redone. So I think that's always fun for people to learn. So there'll be a few different topics. I think that will appeal to a wide range of people.
Great. And speaking of struggles, how has your business been affected by the current COVID-19 crisis and everything that's been going on?
So it's interesting. We were just talking about, we signed our lease on our new building, and about 3 days later, everything shut down. So
we have 2 locations currently right now, but which are closed.
So I mean, we would have made the decision regardless of what was happening, because I think we have pretty strong faith that it's going to be up and running. We don't know when. We're being patient with it. We know what's going to happen. And I think, actually, if anything, I think people will come out wanting to support local small businesses even more than they ever did before, because I think people are really realizing that this is the heart of the community, and we need each other, and we need to support each other. So we're really hoping that, whenever things do open back up, that we're able to show that to the community, and that people also support us in the same way as we grow and expand our services. We're excited to be here, but the timing maybe wasn't perfect, or maybe it was, but we wouldn't have changed, anything, and it'll get back there. It'll be okay.
And then for our events, we definitely have some brides that their weddings have been affected. And actually, that's our most recent blog post, is feel all the feels with that. So we definitely have seen a change in wedding and event space. But as of right now, everybody's just postponed, which is really awesome to see. And venues,
and it's kind of fun that people
well.
are changing from, they're leaving the venue scene and they're having backyard weddings, which I think is kind of awesome.
I think we have 4 backyard weddings just this year alone
for the summer, which is, I don't know, I think that's really makes it special and nice and more intimate. So I think people are just trying to see the silver lining in it.
Great. Awesome. Well, I'm glad you guys are doing so well during this time. I think
stay positive.
Yeah, exactly right. All you can do sometimes. I think it's great to have you as my first guest, because I think this is exactly what I'm trying to embody for this show, this series, the positivity and the sense of local and a community that all supports each other and everything like that. So I really appreciate your honesty and you being here and talking to me today.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us. It's been great.
Yeah, of course. And just any final things you want the community to know about you, to anything like that? Any last words you'd like to say?
Yeah, I mean, I just hope that everybody just will follow us. We want everybody to come and see the new shop and just see firsthand everything that we want to provide for this community. So definitely follow along on our journey.
Social media, you can subscribe on the website so you can learn about our blogs and when we drop them.
But we're just excited to have the community embrace us also and be able to serve here. It's been great.
We want to be that place that everybody comes. So
come and hang out with us soon.
Great. Well, thank you both very much for joining me. I appreciate your time, and I hope that we can talk again soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay.